When I got the job offer, I didn't ask too many questions. I needed the money. My last job paid peanuts, and the description for this new gig was vague but promising. Night warden, isolated facility, high compensation, free housing. It sounded almost too good to be true. I signed the contract the same day they offered it to me. No background checks, no drug tests, just a heavy envelope, a pen, and a signature line. The man who handed it to me wore a black suit that didn't fit him quite right, and his smile was off, too wide, too many teeth. "Welcome aboard," he said, voice a little too raspy, like he hadn't used it in years. The prison, officially called Site D-17, was buried deep in the woods, a good 3-hour drive from the nearest town. The facility itself looked abandoned, its high walls covered in patches of moss and rust. The free housing was a trailer parked behind the facility, rusted and tilting slightly to one side. I didn't care. It beat my last apartment, where you could hear your neighbor coughing through the walls. On my first night, the day shift warden, a gaunt man named Mr. Hale, walked me through the basics. The inside of the prison was dimly lit and windowless, the walls sweating moisture, like the place itself was alive. It smelled like copper and mold. "You're not a guard," Hale said, as he led me past rows of heavy, sealed doors. "You're a custodian. You make sure the rules are followed. That's it." "What kind of inmates do we have?" I asked, trying to peer through the thick glass of one of the cell doors. I thought I saw something shift in the shadows inside. "Not your concern," Hale said sharply. "Just follow the rules." He handed me a thick, battered manual titled Night Shift Protocols. Some of the rules were concerning. Rule 1. Never look directly into the cells between 1:13 a.m. and 2:06 a.m. If you hear whispering, ignore it. Rule 2. If you see cell 8B's door open, do not attempt to close it. Find a reflective surface and monitor it until 2:06 a.m. Rule 3. At exactly 3:33 a.m., you must check the observation window in hallway C. If there is a figure behind the glass, offer it your left hand. It will not accept. If it does, evacuate immediately. Rule 4. Should you hear footsteps behind you, in the west wing, freeze. Do not breathe until the sound stops. Rule 5. If the red light above the central security room turns blue, hide. Quickly. Rule 6. Never answer if you hear your own voice calling for help. It's not you. You'll get used to it, Hale said, his sunken eyes boring into mine. Just don't improvise. I didn't sleep that day. I read and reread the manual until the words blurred. At 8 p.m., I punched in and began my first solo shift. The prison was unnervingly quiet. No clanging bars, no shouting. Just the soft hum of old fluorescent lights and the occasional drip of unseen leaks. The cells were spaced far apart, heavy doors with reinforced glass, the size of a dinner plate. I couldn't shake the feeling that the building was breathing around me. My first few rounds were uneventful. I almost started to relax. At 1 a.m., my stomach knotted. I remembered Rule 1. I checked my watch obsessively. 1:13 a.m. Whispering started almost immediately. It slithered through the air, thick and sticky. "Help us. Come closer. You left us. We know your name. You're one of us." I kept my head down, my eyes fixed on the floor, as I shuffled past each cell. The air grew colder, my breath visible in puffs. Something scraped against the glass behind me. Nails? Claws? Don't look. Just keep walking. I almost broke when something cold brushed the back of my hand. By 2:07 a.m., the whispers stopped, like a switch had been flipped. My knees were shaking. At 2:47 a.m., I entered the West Wing, the haunted wing. Hale had called it half-jokingly. My boots echoed across the floor. Halfway down the hall, I heard footsteps behind me. Quick, light, like someone barefoot. I froze mid-step, clamping my mouth shut. The footsteps circled me once, twice. I felt a hot breath against the back of my neck. A low, guttural growl vibrated through the air. Then, silence. I counted to 20 before moving again, each step feeling like it would be my last. At 3:32 a.m., I approached hallway C. The observation window was set into a heavy metal door, slightly fogged from within. I approached it slowly, heart pounding. 3:33 a.m. There was a figure on the other side of the glass. It looked human. Male, tall, wearing a jumpsuit stained with dark smears. His face was wrong, twisted. His mouth stretched too wide. His eyes black pits. Trembling, I pressed my left hand to the glass. He mirrored me, his cold palm against mine, separated only by the thin sheet of glass. He did not try to take my hand. I backed away slowly, fighting the urge to scream. My next few shifts followed the same pattern. Terror became a background noise. Rules kept me alive, until 2 weeks in, when the red light above the central security room turned blue. I was mid-round when it happened. I caught the shift out of the corner of my eye and froze. Hide. I darted into a supply closet, closing the door silently behind me. Footsteps flooded the hall. Wet, dragging footsteps, like something crawling. I didn't dare peek. Minutes passed. Hours, maybe. When I finally emerged, the light was red again. But now the facility felt wrong, angrier. After that, things escalated. Cells that should have been locked were ajar. Some doors were dented from the inside, as if something massive had slammed against them. Whispers followed me, even outside the 113-226 window. Shadows moved without light. The PA system would crackle to life and play distorted versions of nursery rhymes. One night, the elevators moved on their own. I watched from a distance as the doors opened, revealing nothing but darkness inside, and a whispering voice inviting me to come see. And then, 3 nights ago, Cell 8B's door was open. I almost closed it on instinct, but remembered Rule 2 just in time. I found a shard of broken mirror in the janitor's closet and used it to watch from around the corner. A figure emerged. It was shifting, as if it couldn't decide on a shape. One moment it had long arms, the next, none at all. It slithered across the hall, disappearing through the wall itself. By 2:07 a.m., it was gone, but the walls where it passed were left covered in black, oily streaks. Last night, the rules changed. A new page was slipped under my trailer door. Addendum to night shift protocols. Rule 7. If you find a cell containing a mirror image of yourself, do not interact. Leave immediately. If it follows you, do not acknowledge it. It can only harm you if you call it by your name. Rule 8. If you see a small door where none existed before, do not open it. Something on the other side is pretending to be harmless. I tried to tell Hale the next evening, but he wasn't there. In fact, no one was. The day shift was gone. No cars in the lot, no reply on the radios. Just me, alone. Tonight, it's worse. The lights are dimmer. The walls bleed rust. At 1:10 a.m., before the whispering even started, I saw myself standing outside Cell 12C. Same uniform, same tired eyes. He smiled at me, a crooked, broken smile. "Don't ignore me," he said, voice a grating mimicry of my own. I ran, but I can hear him following me. Every door I pass now creaks open after me. Every shadow twitches in the corner of my vision. My trailer door was ajar when I returned just now, my belongings torn apart, my bed soaked in something that smells metallic and sweet. There was a message written on my bathroom mirror, scrawled in something dark. You're already dead. It's 3:33 a.m. again. The figure behind the observation window isn't human anymore. It's me, but twisted, hollow, grinning too wide. It lifts its hand, beckoning. The rules can't save me now. I hear the door unlatching behind me. I don't dare turn around. If you find this message, if you're reading this, don't come looking for Site D17. It'll find you, and the rules won't matter. I don't know how I'm still alive. After the door unlatched that night, I ran. Pure instinct. I didn't look back, not even when I heard my own voice calling after me, pleading for help, begging me to stop. The prison itself had changed. Hallways twisted in impossible directions. Doors that once led to the cafeteria now opened into pitch-black staircases that seemed to go on forever. Every step echoed, but not in a way that made sense. It sounded delayed, warped. The rules were useless now. I needed out. I made my way to the security room, dodging shifting shadows and distorted echoes. The monitors were still active, flickering with static. I scanned through them, desperate for any clue. One camera, near the main gates, showed a maintenance tunnel I had never noticed before. A service entrance, half covered by ivy and rust. It was my only chance. I grabbed a flashlight, a crowbar, and bolted. The prison fought me every step. Lights flickered and died as I passed. Sirens howled from nowhere. At one point, the floor buckled and split, revealing a black abyss where tiles used to be. I leaped over it, barely making it to the other side. As I ran, the intercom crackled to life. "Turn around," my voice said, but I didn't. Rule 6, never answer if you hear your own voice. Some part of the rules still applied. When I reached the service tunnel, it was worse than I expected. The entrance was a jagged hole, as if something had clawed its way out from beneath. The air reeked of rot and sulfur. Still, I forced myself inside. The walls closed in quickly. It was barely wide enough for me to squeeze through. I had to crawl in places, my flashlight throwing long, jittery shadows against the cracked concrete. Somewhere behind me, something was following. I could hear the scrape of nails on stone, breathing that wasn't mine. I crawled faster. The tunnel twisted and turned, leading me deeper underground. Symbols were scratched into the walls. Crude drawings of human figures being torn apart, devoured by things with too many limbs. I didn't stop. Eventually, I saw light ahead. Dim, dirty moonlight. Freedom. I scrambled toward it, lungs burning. The exit dumped me out into the woods behind the prison. I staggered to my feet, dizzy and gasping. For a moment, I thought I had made it, until I looked back. Site D17 wasn't a building anymore. It was alive, massive, pulsing like a tumor, rooted into the earth. Tendrils of black mist coiled from its broken windows. The walls bled, literally, a dark red ichor staining the ground. And from the front doors, shapes spilled out, figures that wore my face, some broken and twitching, others crawling on all fours. They saw me. They screamed. I ran. I don't know how long I ran. The forest seemed endless. Twisted trees, roots grabbing at my ankles, branches clawing my face. Behind me, the things from Site D17 chased relentlessly. I could hear them snarling, gibbering, mimicking my own voice. "Come back. Don't leave us. You belong here." Somewhere ahead, I saw headlights. A road. A car. I burst from the tree line, waving my arms wildly. The car screeched to a stop. A man leaned out the window, his face pale with shock. "Jesus, are you okay?" he shouted. "Drive!" I screamed, wrenching open the door and throwing myself inside. He didn't ask questions. He peeled away, tires screeching. In the rearview mirror, I saw them standing at the edge of the woods, dozens of them, watching, waiting. The man drove me to the nearest town. I tried to explain what happened, but he just nodded politely and left me at a gas station. When I looked back at his car, he was gone, completely gone. No taillights, no engine sound, just gone. I've been hiding ever since. But Site D17 isn't finished with me. Some nights, I see figures standing across the street from the cheap motel I'm holed up in. Sometimes they knock on my door. Always 3 knocks. Always at 3:33 a.m. I don't answer. I can't. Because if I do, I'll hear my own voice on the other side, whispering, "Welcome back, Warden."